Now, after diving into the world of object-oriented programming and constructors and overloads and all those sorts of constructs, looking at just program flow basics seems a little bit basic and vanilla, but these things will be on the exam and you still use these things quite a bit. They're a normal part of everyday development, and most of these you're probably familiar with if you've been coding in virtually any language for any period of time. So these next few videos are just going to be a review of these basic program flow functionalities. Just make sure they make sense to you. Make sure you know when you would use one as opposed to the other. And we'll just kind of talk through these as we do this little review. Now, code, even in an object-oriented development, is generally processed sequentially from top to bottom. The difference is we jump from object to object to object. It's not like the entire, say, 5,000 lines of code all run sequentially. We may jump into an object and then jump into a method. And within that method, or that subroutine, if you want to think of it that way, it's going to run sequentially from top to bottom, and we are going to control the flow to branch and make decisions and so forth. Now, unless the program flow statement changes the order and the position of the processing, it will run sequentially top to bottom. Now, there are 6 program flow options in the C# programming language, very similar to you see in most other languages out there. And we're just going to touch on these over the next few videos. The first one you tend to forget about, and for good reason, is the goto statement. Then there's the ternary operator, and that's the question mark and the colon. The standard, everybody's favorite if statement, the switch statement, a lot of power, a lot of programmers love that. The do loop, the while loop, and the for loop. And the loops, you really want to make sure on those 3 that you understand the subtle differences between these and when you would use them. And we'll certainly talk about that when we get to those. And then we'll talk about the loop interruptions. And so when we're looping through collections or items, how do we get out of that once we start the loop? And there is the break command, the continue command, go to, and return. We see break and return a lot. We'll talk about the others also when we talk about loop interruptions. So that's where we're headed next. So let's just kind of go through these one at a time. I'll do a separate video for most of them. We'll combine 2 or 3. But let's talk about the program flow basics. Make sure that you just kind of do a little review and get up to speed here. You will see this stuff on the exam.